What about from a more human-centered point of view? Um, the role of technology and particularly AI in conflict resolution and in improving human communication.
Yeah, so I think AI can definitely play a lot role in like communication and conflict resolution, and we
There's an abundance of information available on new technology, how technology works, what technology we should be using, what tasks we should be consider automating, and how AI can reshape the workplace. However, most business leaders are less certain than ever about what technology they need and how to integrate it into their organizations. I'm Jane Singer, and welcome back to A Seat at the Table, where forward thinking individuals from 176 countries and territories join me in sitting down with leaders, innovators, authors, and entrepreneurs so that we can learn what's new, what's working, what's not working, and what we might want to try. Today we're joined by Muhammad Atif, President and Chief Technology Officer at PureLogics, a 20-year industry veteran who's worked with leading companies including Pearson, Intel, Samsung, DHL, and Honda, supporting them as they navigate digital transformation, build scalable cloud-native SaaS or SaaS platforms, and harness AI to optimize operations and create smarter customer experiences. In this episode of A Seat at the Table, he'll be talking about real world AI adoption in enterprises, what actually works versus what commonly fails when deployed at scale, lessons from building and scaling cloud native SaaS platforms for Fortune 500 companies, the future of software engineering in the AI era and how engineering teams are evolving, and human centered AI and the role of technology in conflict resolution and improving human communication. Wow, that's a lot to unpack. So let's sit down with Mohammed and really get a better handle on how we can not only implement technology, but implement it better. So, Mohammed, thank you so much for joining us here today on the seat at the table. I'm really excited about what you'll be talking about. I think so many people who are listening to this podcast are interested in technology, want to be able to learn more, particularly about AI, but not exclusively about AI. So, thanks again for being here with us.
thank you, Jane, for inviting and looking forward to have a good discussion with you.
Now, you talk about AI and real world AI adoption in enterprises, which I think is really important because there's a lot of sort of confusion or uncertainty about that. From your point of view, from the experience that you've had working in industry with many leading companies, what do you see actually works and what are some of the common failures when deploying AI at scale?
Yeah, so I think first of all, before you adopt AI, I think you need to have a complete roadmap and complete visibility. Uh, what you are trying to achieve, you need to have complete AI like policy implementation plan around that. Uh, and once you have that, you need to get your team on the same page. You need to have the same vision. You need to communicate your message. And to do that, one may need to have different training sessions, different onboarding. You need to define a complete like strategy where every person have a different role and responsibilities, so they can make sure that the implementation is going on. So the training and getting the team on the same page, I think these are the things that organization often misses, and due to the uh, FOMO, like hype, which is being created, and every day we see the new tools and new stuff is coming out. So sometimes we miss these key components, and that leads to a lot of confusions, and everyone is trying their own hustle, and that doesn't lead to a like effective output.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this is
absolutely.
where I see that organization need to focus. They need to have their teams given them the confidence that it's about adaptability, it's about increasing their performance, it's not about the replace. I mean, one of the fear most of the employees have, like, if we adopt it, is it going to replace us?
Right.
I mean, that is another challenge. So like some of the like team members are very reluctant to adopt it at the same time as well. So we need to have a clear vision, and we need to see that it's about increasing the productivity, it's not about replacing. We will still have the human in the loop.
I think that's really
Yeah.
important because you're absolutely right. The narrative around AI replacing a vast number of people has just taken on a life of its own. And I mean, I've heard arguments for and against that, and I'm not an expert on AI, and both arguments are compelling in their own way. However, I think that certainly the importance of companies being able to reassure people and also train them properly is absolutely
Yeah.
critical, as you're pointing out.
Yeah, and organizations, Jane, I see that they need to focus on like measurable operation value, like ROI, instead of just hype.
Mm.
And I guess the trust is most important factor, that we need to bring trust. We need to have proper trainings, uh, and we need to get everyone on the same page. The organization should be ready to adopt it, and that will generate the real results.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. People do overlook the importance of that onboarding period, and that doing it in haste oftentimes is what leads to a failure.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about lessons from building and scaling cloud native SaaS platforms for Fortune 500 companies. I think that's interesting because certainly you've been working with companies that have had the resources to be able to go into this probably in a bigger way than many of the other companies that are also trying to do this nowadays. What are some of the key lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, so when it comes to the scaling, I think the SaaS application, they need to have strong architecture, strong base. I mean, these are technical jargons. I will not go into the much details, but once you see your product or your application start getting the traction, and you're getting a lot of traffic, uh, you need to have a team that can support the volume. You can build the confidence around the customer. I mean, if at a peak time your application is down and customer is not able to use that, I mean, you will lose the impact, and you will lose that opportunity window. So having a scalable cloud infrastructure, and also security, is very important. uh, Specifically, if you are into a specific industry, like if you're in the healthcare, you need to make sure that you are following all the security guardrails, your application is HIPAA compliant. If you are in the fintech, PCI compliances. Similarly, the other, the security, scalability, and ensuring that you are providing the support, because your application can't be down at a peak time when the customer are looking for that. So these are some of the areas that needs to be worked out when it comes towards the scaling. uh, and also you need to capture the customer feedback, like what are their feedback, and you need to continuously improve your product. And not every customer request or every feature that they are requesting, it should be part of
Mm,
the SaaS upcoming. You need to evaluate its ROI. You need to
right.
see like all the audience, and you need to segmentize it. And maybe you need to apply 80/20 rule, like the feature that is requested, by how much
Mm.
customer usage, what are they paying, what will be the value of that. So you need to keep a balance around these things, and I think you can scale it out.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really, really important points, and particularly the security issue. Now, if you would, that's such a big issue now, and I literally had someone on this same podcast earlier this week who was talking specifically about security
Mm-hmm.
risk around AI, although he was focusing more on agentic AI, but still, security around anything digital has become a very big issue. More than a few companies have been hacked. Catastrophic results on account of that. What are you seeing as best practices? What are companies that you work with starting to do now, to really be able to address the situation and as best they can put a fence around it?
Yeah. So there are different approaches people are following. There are best practices that you can follow for this security and privacy. I think if you are specifically adopting AI, you need to make sure that you have a proper like BAA agreement with the AI companies, and people are not using their own personal account, GPT accounts, and we need to make sure they are not putting their personal data or confidential data to the GPT and getting the decision. Because I was listening one of the CTO from TD Bank, and he was explaining that in most of the financial institutes, like the employees, they have personal GPT accounts, and they're putting the financial data over there and taking the suggestions from AI, which is against the policies, the security and like privacy rules. Same in the healthcare, like we can't give each and every data, especially the patient health information,
Mm.
without the consent to these like AI models. So what trend I have seen, the large enterprise, they are moving towards on-prem solutions. If they are using any kind of AI or LLM, they have all the infrastructure on site. They are hesitating that any of the data shouldn't leave their premises. uh, and then there are companies who have proper like BAA agreement in place to ensure that data or whatever AI they are using, it is within the boundaries. And then on top of that, the application and infrastructure that you have, you need to make sure you are following either ISO 27001 or SOC 2 or other practices to ensure that best practices are in the place. So these are some standards that can make you safe from all the happening in the market right now.
When you're working with these companies, I know that, oftentimes the focus of AI and other technologies as well, not just AI, is obviously cutting costs, making things more efficient, right? Making things faster, more nimble, more agile. How heavy a role in terms of priorities does security play right now? When you are working with clients, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so definitely like AI is improving the stuff. It's making the repetitive stuff and the things that we keep doing manually. It's bringing the speed and automation over there. Like if I talk about specifically engineering problems, right? So in the software engineering, it has reduced the repetitive coding work. Now the engineers, they are more focused on architecture and validation.
Mm,
So you can say the software engineers, they have become more of a workflow designer, or you can say they are more of architect. uh, but the human oversight is still there. Like, I mean, we can't trust like 100% on the AI that it is shipping the final product or final feature. So once it does the coding, the human reviews it. If it looks good, it becomes a part of the production. So this is the one example. Similarly, we are working with some quite innovative startup. Like one of the startup is they are working on an AI application which is solving the care problem for third world countries where the patient don't have access to the doctors.
right.
So they are building a technology that with a mobile phone I can take the picture of my eyes, and using the retina image it can detect if the patient is affected with malaria and if they need to visit the doctor right now. So these kind of solution. Another solution that we are trying building right now is helping the police to detect if the person is affected right now if they are driving. So what they do that they using the mobile application, they monitor the movement of the eye retina, and also they see the heartbeat. If they and they try to match different patterns. If they find that pattern within that threshold, the algorithm detects that the person is like affected right now. So these kind of innovative solution, they are also adding a lot of value at the same time. Similarly, I have seen the solution in HR and recruitment, where the AI is helping in like candidate shortlisting, finding the right match, ensuring that we are not missing any candidate which is a good talent. And on the candidate side, it's helping the candidate to find the right job, helping them in preparing for interviews. So a lot of manual stuff and a lot of like repetitive tasks where a lot of time is being spent, AI is trying to automate and reducing that. Similarly, when you walk into any like clinic or hospital, you have to go a ton of paperwork, and the clinicians, they have to do a lot of data entry. So again, AI is helping to connect those dots, bringing those information ready to be available, so the patient can get the care on the time. Yeah.
Right.
So these are different use cases where AI is really adding an impact in each and every industry. And but again, it requires a human involvement. I mean, it still hallucinate. Maybe after a year or 6 months, the agents and these things become so stable that they can act their own, and you can just have some eval matrices to see that how good they are performing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really interesting to see how that's evolved. Now,
Yeah.
how is the future of software engineering? particularly in an AI era evolving. There's so many different AI platforms that can code for you, can build things, only getting better and better. Um, where does the role of the engineer come in, or do you see that we won't even need engineers anymore on the software side of things?
I think we more of a need of like a if I talk about the software engineer, we just don't. They were like doing most of the coding work initially. Now we need the software engineers who can build end-to-end products, starting from uh, taking the user story or defining the user story, their acceptance criteria, architecting that particular user story, validating, and then seeing the code which is being generated, and after evaluating, making it part of the production and deployment. So their role has evolved to be more broader. They are just not doing the coding, but they are looking at the end to end, the complete feature development. And where we used to have, Jane, a team of, let's say, 5 to 6 people, where in previously, like we used to have a UI UX designer, front end developer, back end. We used to have a SQA or DevOps. So maybe we just these all updates, we just need to have one solid engineer who can take care of all these using these different agents
Mm.
and plug and play and can deliver the feature end to end. So uh, I, I believe it has become more efficient, and it's going to be that software engineers don't need to think in a narrow coding point of view, but they need to think from the complete product feature development or end-to-end vision and deliver that feature completely. And that is what the future look like. The need will be there, but they need to evolve and they need to think from the complete, like as a product delivery person. Yeah.
Right. So you don't think that ultimately AI will do that as well? That we'll still need people to do that?
Yeah, so I think we still at this stage we still need to have like human involvement. Like if you build something using AI, uh, and let's say you start getting traction and you have uh, huge traffic on that, there are areas that you need to tune up in terms of like scaling, in terms of optimization, in terms of architecture. So there are a lot of areas where we still need the human involvement, and this is where I'm saying AI can speed up on these things, but we need to have a human where it can scale, where it can become the production ready, and it can grow over the time.
Right. So you still need human oversight, but the AI will do a lot of the repetitive work.
Yeah, it will speed up. I mean, the productivity, you can say it can take up to 10x.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Um, and to save a lot of, like you say, the time-consuming, repetitive detail work. Um, that's a huge savings not to be able to not have to do that. Um, Now, when you're looking at the role of AI from a more human-centered point of view, and I know we're just been talking about how it may be eliminating more jobs, but what do you see as the role of
Hmm.
technology in conflict resolution and improving human communication? Because I think that's quite interesting. We've never really come at it from that perspective before. When you look at AI, we're mainly looking at AI nowadays in speeding things up, in reducing our workforce. We're looking at it from
Hmm.
that point of view. Um, what about from a more human-centered point of view? Um, the role of technology and particularly AI in conflict resolution and in improving human communication.
Yeah, so I think AI can definitely play a lot role in like communication and conflict resolution. And we have seen, if I talk about specifically like legal industry, we have seen a lot of AI innovation in that particular industry as well. A lot of AI powered solution are there, which are helping resolving the legal issues and all that stuff, which takes like days before, but now using these LLMs and these AI products, you can get it done like within hours or so. And also in terms of communication, I think AI is advancing a lot. Like I've been seeing a lot of applications that can help in like enhancing your communication, articulation, or overall speaking. There are a lot of like customized courses which can be built if you want to learn any new language or if you want to like communicate. And you may have seen some of the products from Apple and other, where like if you are traveling to some other country and they are speaking some other language, so you can communicate easily with them. You don't have any like barriers into that. So I think AI is making really good progress over there, and we have seen some real examples already from some known companies in terms of communication, in terms of resolving the conflicts, uh, and it's going to be great. Looking forward at how this resolve out.
Yeah, I think that'll be quite interesting. Now, as someone who leads a tech company, what is some of the challenges that you face in that leadership role?
Right now, I think adopting the AI and making sure that uh, we we have our workforce and all the people like trained for this new era, and they start using uh, these AI tools and AI like agents to ensure that they increase their productivity to the 10x. That is the major challenge. And again, as I mentioned at the start of this conversation, that building trust and also having training programs for employees, and then communicating your vision that it's not about replacing them, but it's more about making them more like according to the market trends and ready uh, to go through this AI era and and get maximum opportunities out of that. So that's the main thing that I think each tech firm is trying to deal right now. And here at PureLogics, I think we have been pretty successful. We have initiated different training programs. We have also launched different certifications, and we just became Anthropic cloud partner as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Congrats.
it's yeah, it's going great, and our engineers are using like AI as much as possible, and across other departments as well, not only the engineering one, like whether it's HR or like recruitment or financial, trying to be 10x as much as possible.
I think really interesting.
Yeah.
When you're working with these companies, I know every company is different, but do you feel that people are going into a lot of these new technologies feeling hesitant and feeling, well, we need to do it because it's what's coming, but we're not really sure? Or do you feel that they're very confident and really energetic about rolling this out?
There are both type of people, I think, but most of the people are overwhelmed because every day you wake up and you see a new tool or new like feature is over there, and the thing that you learned yesterday is no more. So I think it's the time that one should keep an eye on all the updates happening, and maybe subscribe to some good podcast or some good newsletter which can give them the real updates, and according to their use case, like if they are in the fintech, like we saw that Claude launched the fintech skills for financial people, around 10 skills which are replacing most of the work. Like it can do the pitch deck, it can do like evaluation and a lot of stuff that a financial guy will take like hours to do. So these kind of updates, I think they need to keep an eye according to their industry, that can make the things really easy and 10x for them. So this is where they need to invest their time to be future ready.
I think that's very interesting. And I think you're right. People do need to do a certain amount of research and think about how this fits into their organization. You don't want to be the last guy to adopt this and get left behind. But then again, you also don't really necessarily want to be a pioneer and then,
Yeah.
deal with all those challenges. So it's a conundrum for leadership in many different organizations to be able to figure out what to do and what pace to do it at.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think we also need to understand that AI is just not changing, let's say, the software, it is changing the organizational behavior. And what I have found, the hardest part of AI transformation is not the tech only, it is alignment as well. And this is where uh, I'm saying multiple times that we need to have trust, we need to have training programs, we need to have communication with the all the teams and departments. So they are all on the same page. And what I see that companies that will redesign the workflows around AI instead of simply using AI tools. So like if you are in HR, financial, you need to redesign your workflows, and you need to make sure that these all workflows are using AI as much as possible to produce 10x instead of just simply adopting the random tools here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very good point to be able
Yeah.
to look at it in a broader based, a more macro point of view than simply adopting tools, as you say, here or there, somewhat randomly, to solve spot problems without really thinking about how it integrates into your entire system.
Yeah, and I believe that tech leadership today is as much about communication and trust as just like building the architecture. So this is where they need to focus, and they need to continuously communicate. They need to build the trust, because everyone is like in this like fear that what the future will look like. So it's time that they need to communicate their vision and need to build the trust, and then adopt AI. And redesign the workflows to have maximum output of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mohammed, thank you so much for joining us here on A Seat at the Table. You've shared so many interesting insights, and I think that everybody who's listening to this really has learned a lot and gained a lot more
Mhm.
breadth of scope on how this is all going to play out potentially, and what we really need to be thinking about. You know, a better perspective on the various aspects of this leap that we're making in implementing AI.
Yeah, thank you, Jane. And I will just say at the last that the future is not AI replacing the people, it is AI helping the people to operate better together. So let's try to adopt this as much as possible, and let's try to get maximum benefit out of it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Mohammed. Thanks for being with us here today on A Seat at the Table. If you'd like to see some of the other episodes, head on over to our podcast website at seat.fm. That's SEAT.fm. There's also a link here in the show notes. And if you're thinking that you'd like to be a guest on the show, you'll find information on how to apply there as well. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Jane Singer, and I will see you in the next episode.